Hey, what's up guys, it's Benny here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about a very touchy and sensitive subject that a lot of people have been talking about recently, and that is, where did Call of Duty Ghosts go wrong? First of all, I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter in the comment section. So get like a community debate going on, because I personally have my reasons, and I'd love to hear your guys as well. Because I think we'd most likely agree that Call of Duty Ghosts hasn't been as big a success as we were all hoping for and expecting it to be as this time last year. Especially because of Infinity Ward making Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, which were perhaps two of the best Call of Duty games to date. I just don't think Call of Duty Ghosts met those expectations that everyone was expecting from Infinity Ward. And there was a number of reasons for that. And it was always going to be one of those difficult games to make, because it was going to be the first Call of Duty game which was made for 4 platforms. It was going to be made for the Xbox 360, the PS3, and then the next-gen consoles, the Xbox One and PS4, which they had to fit into a 2-year dev cycle, which is, I think, one of the fundamental reasons Ghost wasn't as big a success, and people didn't take that into account, which is a real shame. And it's one of the reasons that I'm getting really big expectations of Advanced Warfare, because it's going to be the first Call of Duty game which has had a 3-year dev cycle, so hopefully that's going to be an awesome game, which we'll find out on Monday, which I can't wait for. The Monday the 11th, that's going to be awesome. But anyway, I'm going to get into the reasons that I personally believe that Call of Duty Ghosts hasn't been as big a success. Like, I personally love the competitive side of it, and I think Ghost works really well for that, but for the majority, and for most of you guys, you don't play competitive Call of Duty, so it doesn't work out. Like, the play, first of all, right, it's going to be the play style of the game, the play, which is kind of the pace. The pace of Call of Duty Ghosts is so much slower because it rewards people camping and sitting in corners, and there's no real counter to that. That's partly due to the time to kill. Someone can just sit in a corner, pre-aim a doorway, and kill someone in 2-3 bullets. That's before you can even get halfway around the corner, you're dead. So everyone sits and holds positions rather than pushing like in Black Ops 2. Everyone was attacking objectives and stuff like that. Which is because you got rewarded for capping on an objective. No one in Ghost wants to hop on the B flag and try and attack a point, which is what creates this real fast-paced action in Call of Duty Ghost. No one does that because everyone's sitting behind a bollard, or whatever you want to say, trying to get their chem strike, or their streak, or their dog, their furry minion of doom. And that brings me on to the kill streaks of Call of Duty Ghosts, which is another area that I believe that Call of Duty Ghosts went wrong. Going on to the assault streaks, they weren't rewarding to use. They weren't like something that you wanted to get, like when you look at Black Ops 2, you wanted to get that swarm, you wanted to get those dogs. While in Ghosts, you really have the best kill streak at 4 or 5 kills. There wasn't a variety of things that made you go, I'm going to use assault. It's going to be the best kill streak package for me to use. And I think that's one of the things. They just weren't balanced. When you look at support, when you had the most frustrating and annoying kill streaks, such as the support squad mate, the ballistic vest, and the Oracle, which you could get without dying, without failing, and then the assault kill streaks, I can get a dog. I just don't. I think that's a bit of the thing that went wrong, and it just didn't work out. Well, Specialist, I think, was right. I found Specialist really enjoyable to use, and it worked. But like the assault and support kill streaks just didn't work enough, and it's one of the reasons why everyone just tried to camp and kill the pace of the game. The next reason that I think Call of Duty Ghosts wasn't as successful as well was the maps that were included. Like Siege, that's all I need to say. Siege and Chasm, like those aren't traditional Call of Duty maps, especially for 6v6. They're too big. They're like Battlefield maps, and I think that was a real shame, because the game like Octane, Freight, Strike Zone, Sovereign are actually really fun to play. Like, if all the maps were like that, like, you wouldn't have to back out. And I think that's where it went wrong slightly as well. And I think they greatly improved on that when they listened to the community saying that when you look at the DLC maps, they're a lot better than what we initially start with the game. But everyone gets their opinion when they first get the game, and I think that's one of the things that went against Call of Duty Ghosts. The instant everyone got it, it were like, the map's too big, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't change it there and then. They had to bring it out in DLC packs, and I think that was a real shame. The last thing I'm going to be talking about in my mini run about what went wrong with Call of Duty Ghosts is the IED, aka the bane of my life. I think that is the thing that single-handedly made me the most frustrated I've ever been in my life. Every time I went through a corridor, was on a streak, it would just blow me up, and there was nothing you could do for a large percentage of the game. At the start of the game, they were incredibly powerful, and they would just kill you off the middle of a ceiling, and you're like, well, that's great, that is. And I can remember you being forced to run sit rep, because it was the only way of not dying to IEDs. but then we were thankful when it got nerfed and it didn't become as annoying. It was still annoying, but that kind of brings me on to saying a big thank you to Tina, the community manager for Call of Duty Ghosts, because from what I've seen, she's done a great job in actually listening to what the community have said, have had to say, and tried to do her best to get things changed in the game. I think it was one of the strong reasons why the IED got nerfed. So I have to say a big thank you to her, and she's done her best. And there's been so much stuff on Twitter. I've seen so many people give her abuse when it's not her fault at all. People forget there's a whole studio behind making the game, and she can only do so much. But I guess everyone tries to have someone to direct their anger at. It was like Vonderhaar before. But yeah, I'd have to say a big thank you to her for actually listening to us for a lot of things. But anyway, that's kind of like my mini rant. There's also, guys, remember, there are a lot of good things about Call of Duty Ghosts. Like, I personally fell in love with competitive because of Ghosts. The game plays amazingly well for competitive Call of Duty, but public matches, I just don't think the pace of the game works, and it's a real shame. But guys, just remember, drop in the comment section what you think went wrong with Call of Duty Ghosts and what went right as well, because people do forget there are always good points in a Call of Duty. It's right, people always like kind of wash out the things from previous Call of Duty. When you look at Black Ops 2, EMP grenades, stuff like that, those were in it, and people just seem to forget about that when the next COD comes out. Things were right, but those are the things that I think that what went wrong with Call of Duty Ghosts. But hopefully Advanced Warfare is going to be insane. First game with a 3-year dev cycle. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Drop a like on the video if you agreed with anything, and make sure to drop a comment in the comment section. I really want to hear your comments, and I will see you guys next time, and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.